anything on burnout or anything you just want to do as a pre-session question to Ellen or share anything, you're free. We'll just wait for 1 or 2 more minutes and then we'll start. We already have 21 on board.
Hello, Arcana. Welcome. Sriram, welcome. Sweets and voting day in Pune. Which is more important?
Hi, Annie. Thank you for referring Ellen in the first place. Thank you that you are here on the call.
Namaste. Thank you.
Yeah, Annie was the one who actually, I think, has been to your session or seen your session and said that let's have, you know. And
Yes,
of course, we had a talk, Kannan, myself,
Yeah.
Annie. So before we proceed, Kannan, I'm just making you the co-host.
Sure.
Nothing should happen here, but they said there is going to be rain in London, so I don't know. Just to be on the safe side.
You should be surprised if it doesn't.
It would be more surprising if they said there were sun in London than they're saying that there was rain in London, frankly.
They said
Hi,
heavy
Annie.
rain.
Good to have you on the call.
So, yes. So, welcome everyone for this first session of this January 2026. So, Kannan, would you like to say something before I introduce our speaker and go with the other formalities?
Okay. Thank you, Arna. And first of all, wish you all a fantastic new year. I hope you had a great start of the year and a great celebration today of those who are celebrating the Harvest Festival or Lori or Pongal or whatever you celebrate, right? Every day for us need to be a celebration that way. So thank you for taking time out to join us this evening. And on behalf of the chapter, we are really pleased to welcome you all this evening. And as a chapter, we continuously invest our energy in spreading the awareness for further coach enhancement and development. And this is part of our monthly learning and development series that we have. If you are part of the chapter, you will get the notification already. If you would like to be notified, please do let us know and consider joining any of our communities or the chapter itself if you are inspired. Okay. In addition to the L&D sessions that we have today, and we as a chapter, we also do a lot of activities to help spread the coaching and celebrate the coaches themselves. So we have opportunities for you to write a book review or a blog or even come forward to share some of the framework that has worked well for you, which you may want to share it with the rest of the community as a coachability kind of a platform. And as a chapter, we also work with some of the institutions in spreading the coaching in terms of pro bono opportunities for our coaches to experience the real world clients and start developing their skills. And there is a lot in store for this year, and we will be making announcements very soon, later this month, in terms of what we are planning to do and what we plan to bring it to all of you as coaches. And today is a very special day, and we have the pleasure of hosting Ellen today on a very interesting and important topic for all of us as coaches. It's just that burnout awareness, right? While we are here to help the humanity in terms of making them better and leading them to lead to their better versions of themselves in the aspects that they choose to work on. It's also important, equally important, or even more important for us to take care of ourselves. Okay. So in that regard, Ellen has done some great work, and this is a global session, first time being scheduled in India, initially rolled out in California chapter, and some of the European chapters have learned from it. And we are very happy to welcome Ellen to the Asia side of it, and Chennai being the first to share her wisdom. Okay. I hope you enjoy and enjoy the session. Please do stay connected. And Aruna, if you can do a formal introduction of Ellen.
Yes. Thank you, Kannan. And since there are so many new names here, new faces in the session, uh, let me just tell who Kannan is. Kannan is the president of our ICF Chennai board, and he's been steering our board and the chapter from the last 1 year, admirably. And he is our foremost support and guide. And I am the director L&D, and I'm in charge for all these sessions, L&D sessions, and have the privilege of getting people like speakers like Ellen. It has been a very nice journey for me as well. And just a little bit of the statistics. In the last one, this sessions are not just for learning. In addition to learning, you also get your much required CCEUs. So last 1 year itself, we had awarded 13.5 core competency and 9 RDCCUs to the participants. Of course, just a little suggestion on the getting the CCUs. You need to fill up the Google feedback form, and the request, the feedback form link would be posted around 10 to 15 minutes before the completion of the session. So please do fill it up with your correct name, email, and then submit it, and we will send you the CCUs within 1 week to 10 days. Remember that to get the CCUs, the filling is compulsory. Some people reach out later to me saying that, hey, I was there, but this is the mandatory. And another thing is, some of you have reached out to us regarding membership. So not sure that whether you could check it out. We send a mail to you from membership@icfchennai.com. So please reach out to us, or do check in your spam if you have such a mail regarding our membership and all. So we would love to have you in the, our community and members, and we would, not want to miss you out if you want to join. So now to the main part of the today. It's my privilege always to introduce the speaker of the session of that month, and it happens to be Ellen. Ellen Kocher is right now living in Switzerland, but a Swiss American economist. She is having an MA ICF MCC and then NBHWC. I think it is National Board Health, some certification. I think Ellen will be much better person to explain what it is. And she's a workplace well-being expert and a global coach mentor based in Geneva. With over 25 years of experience as a corporate health expert, burnout prevention and resilience, she equips coaches and organizations to sustain performance in high-stress environments. Ellen mentors coaches worldwide and delivers turnkey training programs globally. She co-founded Wake Up, Shake Up, Thrive, leads Wellness, and serves in leadership roles across the ICF and NBHWC communities. So, Ellen, I know this is very small compared to the introduction, compared to the work you've been doing, but I thought it's better hearing from you. And believe me, ladies and gentlemen, this session is going to be a very valuable thing, because Ellen is going to leave us with a lot of takeaways. I had a sneak peek preview, that's why I'm very confidently saying about it. So, Ellen, now the quote is yours.
Thank you. Thank you for the beautiful introductions.
And before we move, do I have permission to pin you? And also, do you need any other help? Questions, how do you want to take?
I will take the questions right in the chat. I'm going to keep it open the entire time. And so we will create that safe space for everybody from the very, very beginning. Thank you for that beautiful introduction. And I learned a new word today that I'd love to share with you, which is Vanakkam. And I mean that, Vanakkam. Welcome, welcome to this session. I want you to sit back and relax. Rest assured, you do not need to take any notes today. I will be sending you all a copy of the entire slide deck we will be having today. You saw in my name, I do have some certifications, of course. The National Board of Health and Wellness Coaches is a health and wellness certification in the United States. It's part of the medical board. So I happen to be skilled in some of these areas that many ICF coaches are not. And it occurred to me 3 or 4 years ago that it was really, really, really important for all of us, whether we are working in the field of health and well-being or not, to have a minimum awareness. And that's what I'm here for today. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to create a very safe space. I would like you all to feel just very, very welcome to put anything in the chat anytime. I will be keeping the chat open so I can see what you're saying, if you have any questions as we move along. So we're going to talk about burnout awareness for coaches and why it matters and what you need. As I explained earlier, and I'll just leave this there for a minute, that's my LinkedIn profile. I love meeting coaches. I love sharing with coaches and I love giving to coaches. That's part of our nature, isn't it? Giving. We love to give. And so there are two things here. First of all, my LinkedIn profile. Let's link into each other. Let's stay connected beyond today. And on the right, as Aruna mentioned, I offer a lot of free training that gives you CEUs. So please take that guide. This is all a click through. And as I said, you will be receiving all of these slides at the end of the session today. My objectives for today. I want you to understand, first of all, the business case for burnout and mental health coaching. This session is not my deep dive 2-hour session so you can walk away and coach full burnout in the workplace. We have that. But what's really important for all of you to understand is why this matters, the real business case. I am an academic, so everything you see is sourced and resourced, and you'll have all of those resources. I want you to walk away today with the capability to distinguish between burnout, chronic stress, and clinical mental health concerns like depression. We need to be able to recognize that. I want you to do a self-assessment to see how ready you feel already now to coach mental health and burnout. It's very interesting, that one. I want you to be able to recognize evidence-informed coaching strategies, which I will share with you, to work with clients, and like Aruna mentioned, for yourself, because anything we can do with our clients, we can also use for ourselves. The goal is to recognize, prevent, and manage burnout. And by the way, I'll add something there. A lot of the corporate clients I work with don't like to see the word burnout when I deliver a session of awareness similar to this, a little bit deeper dive in the workplace. They don't like to see the word burnout. So I want you to think about that as you go forward. What words will I use if I'm confronted with this? And we can share that in the chat. Is it mental well-being? Is it just well-being? What are the words your audience is comfortable with? And finally, the last point and my goal for today is to give you this fully sourced presentation so that you can create the ripple effect. You can use it going forward. Thank you, Clifford. I really like well-being as a word. I even like it better than wellness. Sometimes wellness is considered to be like, a retreat. It's not an everyday thing, whereas well-being seems more sustainable, doesn't it? Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so my curiosity, why are you here? If you have a specific reason or something specific you'd like to get out of today's session, I would love to see it. I'd love to see it in the chat, because this session, essentially, of course, we have a PowerPoint, but it's for you. Like we say in coaching, let you do the heavy lifting. Cannon, how do I take care of myself? Good one. Thank you for that. And I like that we're putting ourselves first, because it's like the oxygen mask. Until you put on your oxygen mask, you can't really help the others, right? So thank you for that, Cannon. Does anybody else have any specifics that they would like to be touching upon today?
You verbally say, or like you have to write?
You can absolutely say it. Happy to have you say it. We're a small enough group on the call, 30 people. Go ahead and say it, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I am a victim of burnout. So I left my 20 years job as a geologist. I had a severe burnout, which I did not recognize, and it was going on for like, years until I hit a place where I had no place to return, and I had to quit my work, and I was formally diagnosed as depression. So I have a very close relationship with this. And yeah, I mean, I just wish, like, for many, as you said, the beginning of it that nobody realizes until it hits a point where you have no place to return. So the prevention part of it is very important. So that's what, I would
Wow.
love to, yeah, explore more.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. And thank you for sharing. I mean, that is a huge, huge thing. And I think you all can recognize he didn't know. He didn't recognize it in himself. We don't see it coming. And by the way, burnout tends to hit the highest achievers in our society. So it's something that they almost don't want to accept. So thank you for sharing. And we're going to be looking a lot at that prevention. That really is our goal. We've also got someone that's got Ishnit in the chat has written, we're supposed not to take coaching topics onto ourselves, but it is tough. That's right. Coaching topics can affect us emotionally. And how do we deal with that? So thank you for that,
Ellen,
Ishnit.
thanks, Ishneet here. And I just want to say I kind of relate to what Preetham said. So I didn't know I went through burnout until I hit it. And then I actually experienced coaching myself, which made me realize a couple of changes. And then I thought I learned the craft of coaching and offer the space to others. While doing so, I'm very close to completing the ACC, hopefully by this month end. I'll do that.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. And with that, what's coming is I'm loving this space, but at the same time, I really need to be well regulated myself as well. So that's where this question of, and especially if you're new coaches, how do I not take that into myself? And that's where this burnout, saving yourself from burnout, while we are very aware, it's a field where uh, it takes, like, for example, if you're regulating for two people, you need to be self-regulating, regulate for two. How can that really help? Because I would like to continue with this space. It's important to me. So this prevention of burnout would really be helpful.
Okay, I am writing that down. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for sharing. Annie has added on clients that are managing burnout with their therapist, and it comes up in coaching. We want to be aware of the best ways to support. Another victim of burnout, initially, the realization helped you slow down. I'm hoping the realization of these other people, having not noticed that burnout, will make us all think about where we're at. It's one of the goals of today. Another mid-career coach, Shripad, most of the people I come across either have burnout, boredom, dilemmas. I would like to understand burnout from an expert, have little study in Copenhagen Burnout Inventory. Good job. Warning signs, yes. And Nupur, many times our coaches use the word burnout, which can't be used flippantly. Nupur, thank you for bringing that up because it has become a buzzword, hasn't it? Burnout, burnout. We are going to look at the WHO definition. And guys, that's why I'm giving you this information. You need to be able to say to your client, if your client comes in and says, I'm burned out, you can say, are you? Would you like me to share what the definition of burnout is? And that can open up a conversation. And together you can decide what's next. Yes, what burnout means to them. But burnout, yes, Rahul, yes, we can. But it's also useful to know what burnout really is and what it is not. And we will be getting into that today. One last thing, some practices to prevent and manage burnout. That's how we're ending today with real practical tips, as well as the warning signs. So thank you all for sharing. Again, this session will be very interactive so we can make it the most useful for you. So thank you, the three of you, 30 people on the call, three of you, that's 10% have experienced burnout. That's how many said it out loud. I think just that is an incredible random sampling of what the world is presenting to us today. So let's look ahead. What I've noticed is very much like what you wrote. People feel like they're holding space for everybody else and nobody's holding space for me. Things like exhausted, but I don't know why, very often with very new coaches, Ishneet, by the way. clients bringing burnout to every session. I'm not trained. I don't know what to do. Everybody's talking about it, but how do I stand out as a coach? And it's interesting because as I worked with a group of about 40 coaches yesterday on creating their niche, we often coach clients like us. So someone who has suffered from burnout is the ideal coach to work with someone that's suffering with burnout because they get it and they become credible. So I think that's super interesting to recognize. Some people think they can help, but then they end up leaving drained. And again, this is why we have this session today. So what we're going to be doing, we're going to be looking at the coaching landscape, the real business case for burnout coaching, and then we're going to do 2 self-assessments. In my full 2-hour training, we have about 6 assessments, but today we have the time to do 2. We're going to look at those prevention strategies that Ritu especially has asked for, but I think will be useful for everybody on the call. And then we're going to see what's next. So the coaching landscape, where are we at? Most coaches are trained to support growth and performance. However, we are not trained to recognize the early signs of burnout or emotional overload. And yet we're trained to work with emotions. So this is the gap that we're trying to fill today. 85% of coaches, according to the ICF study, report clients seeking support for mental well-being. We saw that up in the chat a little bit earlier. Mental health and burnout are significant workplace issues. Coaches can play a crucial role supporting resilience and self-management. We lack formal training, and organizations are looking for this. So I am a workplace wellness expert. I work in the workplace. So this is a great way for you to get into the workplace knowing they need this. As a coach, it also allows you to have more impact than just that simple one-on-one coaching. You could even take today's session, bring it to a workplace to raise a little bit of awareness, and then propose one-on-one coaching behind it, if you like that. The coaching landscape. We are almost 130,000 coach practitioners in the world today, a 54% increase since 2019, 56,000 ICF accredited coaches in 143 countries. The industry is thriving and expanding rapidly. We need to stand out. Burnout is one of the areas that allows you to set yourself apart. There's more and more demand from corporations and organizations, and you become more marketable. We always have this question. I coach a lot of coaches. We coaches, by definition, are afraid to niche ourselves to a specific area. We're afraid we won't reach all the people we want to. But by you gaining in these skills, it actually gives you a privileged space in the workplace. The other thing is what you're going to learn today should integrate very well with other kinds of coaching like career transition, executive coaching, leadership coaching, whatever might be your expertise. And we can talk about that a little bit later, see how this would fit in to your personal model. So the business case, here are the numbers, here is the data. And again, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. My goal is you know what you're walking away with. This is what you're going to walk into the workplace so that they hire you to make their people aware and be their coach. Gallup and WorkHuman estimate that burnout is costing the global economy $322 billion per year in lost productivity and turnover. 77% of the global working population experience work-related stress. 41% global figures report high stress levels daily. 75% report having experienced burnout symptoms. Read that carefully, my friends. It doesn't mean they're burned out. like your clients are saying when they're walking in the door, it means they're experiencing some symptoms. We'll look at those symptoms. 60% say stress negatively impacts their health, depression and anxiety, which could be leading to burnout, over 12 billion lost work days a year. Burned out employees are nearly 3 times more likely to be job hunting. 1 million workers absent daily due to stress-related issues. 750,000 deaths per year linked to overwork-related concerns. And 74% of employees report worsening mental health at work. This data is 2026, brand new. That is what is going to get you your clients. So why is mental health coaching the future? 87% cite burnout as one of the top workplace challenges. 74% of companies are increasing investment in well-being. And by the way, the number one thing they're doing is mental health. 94% of employees expect mental health and stress management support. It is no longer optional. It is a necessity. So now you are armed. Coaching figures globally. Return on investment 7-to-1. Coaching significantly reduces burnout, emotional exhaustion. It improves stress management. It improves work performance, employee engagement, turnover, healthcare costs. I won't get into the details. You have all of the resources for this. This is for you to use going forward. Now, let's get you ready for this. Investing in mental health coaching gives a competitive advantage to companies. We want to bridge the gap. Generic wellness programs do not address individual needs. HR and leadership require proactive well-being strategies. Your coaching can provide personalized, high-impact strategies, and you can empower employees and leaders to detect and manage it effectively. Okay, so that is the part of the data. You are knowledgeable to bridging this gap. So let's start to learn. Everything we just said, you own, you can use it going forward. We always have this fine line. What is coaching and what is therapy? Our clients don't know this, especially a corporate client. I would love to see in the chat, or you open up your mic, tell me the difference between coaching and therapy. Let's see. Thank you, Rahul, for your question. We will get to that a little bit later, between the burnout and trauma. Thank you for that question. Coaching versus therapy.
Therapy is backward-looking, coaching is forward-facing.
It's a very common thing to say, and I would agree to you. Therapy tends to look backward, coaching looks forward. It's a very simple, easy way to say it. Totally agree with you there. Mm-hmm. Kanan says the same thing, future focus and processing the past. I actually really like your word there, Kanan, processing the past, right? Because we can't relive it. We're processing what happened. Does anybody else have any thoughts about the boundaries here?
There is some
All I can say, sorry,
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Preetham.
all I can say, so I have been with therapists for long, right? The one thing I experienced, not going into definitions, is that it helped me to open up. It helped me to talk, But
The
after
therapy.
2 years, yeah, in the therapy. But after 2 years, I was still in that same place. Like I couldn't get out of it. I was still talking the same things, almost like over and over. This therapist, you change a therapist, go to another one, but similar kind of things.
I think, thank you. It's just like what Kanan said. You were processing the past and processing and processing and processing and processing.
Yeah, it's like this
Wow.
eccentric circle that goes on and on. And then when I, enrolled myself for coaching program, and that was the first time I realized that there is a tangent that can get out of it, like you need something to get out of that. And
Wow.
that tangent was provided by coaching, not by therapy. So that's my personal experience.
Wow. And that's very much in line with what we said, future focused as past focused, very much in line with what Kanan wrote, which is processing the past versus future focus. Arif adds, coaching is when we ask provocative questions and the answer comes from the coachee. Therapy is symptoms and need a cure. Yeah, Arif, I like what you wrote there. I tend to also say therapy is patients, coaching is clients. That's another easy way. If a client, especially an organization, if you're bringing this into a corporation or an organization, these are very simple ways to actually identify your work. Coaching helps the client to work on themselves, while therapy helps the therapist work on the client. Bhuvana, isn't that an interesting concept? Thank you for that. And Shripad says therapy is for challenges which may need medical intervention. Yeah, I like that, Shripad, very much for issues like depression, which we will look at now. Whereas coaching is for issues like, yes, the stages before breakdown. Therapists diagnose and help manage symptoms. Coaches focus on the future. So diagnostics, patients, these are really good, my friends, very good. We're pulling this together. Therapy is a medical term. There is a problem, we need a cure. Coaching is for the whole person at their present. As in an MCC, we also believe in unconditional positive regard in our client. Unconditional positive regard. Aruna, did you want to add something?
I was just adding a little bit of what Preetham said actually. As I mentioned, as a little bit of trained in the mental well-being coaching as well. So what I see is my work as that mental well-being adds actually to the therapy. Sometimes, it's more like clients come while they're visiting the therapist and it helps them move forward. So I
Yes.
don't see it as coaching versus therapy, but I see it as coaching and therapy.
I actually love this collaboration. I love this collaboration, and I think we can all open our minds to that. If we can pair up with experts in any other area, it is wonderful to create this collaboration. And I would agree with what Pritam said as well. We can kind of add coaching onto anything. You can't add therapy and cures onto anything else, but coaching can be added. I see two hands up, and I'm going to call each one at a time. First, Kanan, and then we'll have Ishnit. Kanan.
Thank you, Ellen. And I just something occurred to me as I was listening to you and all the comments in terms of the distinction between therapy and coaching as we are processing. Something strange resonated with me. Sometimes we feel therapeutic in the presence of some people or in some conversations or some environment. What would you call that as?
I'm going to be very honest with you. I did my master's degree in health and wellness coaching. I will mention the school at the Maryland University of Integrative Health. And during my master's degree, we did a course for coaches called Therapeutic Presence. We do have I get goosebumps saying it. I'll say it again. Therapeutic presence.
Yeah.
We have therapeutic presence. However, and this is where it's really important because the course I took went on to take care of ourselves, Kanan, first, to put on that oxygen mask first. We cannot have therapeutic presence. We cannot listen. We cannot be curious and non-judgmental if we are not ourselves well. So don't be afraid to use the word therapeutic. We are not a therapist. We are not working with patients. But thank you for bringing that up. It reminded me of that beautiful course that I did. And I'm going to write this down. I will add it to the deck, Aruna. We had a very good book that talked about therapeutic presence in coaching that may be of interest to you. I'm just going to write that down. Thank you. Ishnit, please share.
Yeah, I was just going to say that what Aruna said, right? Some clients, they are in therapy and coaching helps them. While I personally think that works, but I was told that because I have external clients as well, one of the clients that I have, a recurring one, she's exactly in this space. And I'm seeing how coaching is helping her. There's a lot of change. But I was told that as per the ICF Code of Ethics, you can't take on clients that are in therapy. So how does this work?
There is no specific core competency that I am aware of, and I work with them every day, that we are not allowed to coach people in therapy. There is not, it is not.
Okay.
I think that is not an anti-ethics at all,
Okay.
any more than if someone is seeing it. For example, I'm a health and wellness coach. Many of my clients are patients for diabetes, or they're seeing a doctor for a medical condition, and they maybe come to me to change their eating habits. You see, the roles are different. I think the
Yeah.
important thing to know is to define the roles. One of the things I do not receive medical documents. I will not do that. That is a border for me. That's very clear. So we have to know where is our role, but there is not, unless you have created an ethical, it's your brother, your sister, the therapist or something. There is no strict rule, to my knowledge, that
Wow.
says that you
Okay.
cannot coach someone in therapy. Does anybody else have anything to add to that? Does anybody know something I don't? I'm happy to look it up to make sure, but
Okay.
I think
yeah, I
it's
went with,
more about the fact that if there's an individual who requires therapy, you don't coach the individual. That's the point.
right. Um, I think, again, it's a fine line, Clifford.
Mhm.
You can coach that client, but not instead of therapy.
Yes, not instead of
Not
therapy.
instead
Correct.
of
Yeah.
therapy, right?
Yeah.
So a client could very well decide, and you might even decide together, you know what? These issues really need therapy. If you want
True.
to work on your sleeping habits, we can work on your habits. But let's just say I'm just going to make this up. Let's say the person is dependent on sleeping medication, and
Sure.
they're having trauma issues, and they need to take sleeping medication because they're not getting over their trauma, right? They need therapy perhaps for the trauma and the sleep issues. But we can still coach them on better sleeping habits. For example, you're all correct. You're correct. We're on a slippery slope, aren't we? So
Mm.
let's move on here, and let's look at some details so that my goal is so that you have confidence and clarity on what you can do and maybe where you shouldn't be doing this.
Sure.
So,
Even
coaching.
just one question,
Yes,
sorry
please.
to interrupt.
Go
So
ahead.
do
Go
I
ahead.
hear do I hear that both can coexist independently at the same time, as long
Yes.
as the boundaries are clear?
As long as the boundaries are clear, and you all know that in our core competencies, the first thing to do, oops, I lose mine. The first thing to do is to clarify those boundaries with your client so that we know what each one is doing. Yes,
Thank you.
you are welcome. So, as many of you said, coaching, future focused solutions, goals, resilience building, supporting mindset shifts, stress management, action driven, encourages self awareness, productivity strategies, things like that. Work life balance. You see where coaching can come in. Whereas therapy, past, trauma, distress, mental disorders, healing, coping mechanisms, psychological support, licensed professionals delivered by mental health experts, treatment based, focused on emotional recovery and mental wellness. So that should start to give you a bit of an idea of what the difference between coaching and therapy is in this world. Pritam says we can coach anybody. The ethics is that you refer them to therapists when they need help. Yes, suicide, bigger mental health issues, and we'll look at them. And it's a medical term, as you've said. So this is really important. This red line at the bottom, and this is what I was saying to Aruna earlier today. Health and wellness coaches and ICF coaches are not licensed mental health providers. You must avoid using the title mental health coach. A safer alternative would be a mental well-being or mental wellness coach. Okay, that's really a little alert I give to everybody so that we stay away from that slippery slope. I'm curious. Up until now, what have you learned? If you could just pop it in the chat quickly. I'm just interested to see what you've learned up until now. Anything new so far? Anything new? Well-being is a big market, Kanan, yeah. And it's an area where we can have a lot of impact, a huge amount of impact. It is becoming an epidemic. Yes, Pritam, it is. 75% of professionals experiencing symptoms stood out. That's why I share the data, my friends. You are welcome, Ines, anytime. Well-being is an important topic. It'll recur in coaching, yes. By the way, as you're putting this, the clarity on boundaries, I learned when I was in ICF California back in October that the International Coaching Federation and the National Board of Health and Wellness Coaches are creating a collaboration. So there should be further training in this area available to us. Yes, Clifford, burnout is silent. Our responsibility as coaches is to learn to equip ourselves and for our clients. Burnout is a huge problem, bigger than you thought. Let's move on. Thank you. Let's start with a self-assessment. So we can miss the signs of burnout in clients because they look a lot at things like goal achievement, especially, I hate to say this, I think it was Ishneet that mentioned it, at the ACC level. ACC level, as you know, we are really looking to set those action points in that goal achievement. We're not necessarily tapping into those emotional cues. We learn that as we become a PCC and even more as we become an MCC. So as you move forward with this, we're going to start with a little quiz. So I want you all to just do this little quiz next to your computer. We're going to start. There are 5 questions. Question number 1. Which of the following is officially recognized by the WHO as a workplace-related symptom? You can just put it in the chat, A, B, C, D. A, clinical depression. B, generalized anxiety disorder. C, burnout. Or D, work satisfaction. Officially recognized as a workplace-related syndrome. Yeah. So everybody puts C. Of course, this session is on burnout, so you probably knew the answer. What I would like to share with you here, and I don't know if this surprises anybody, but burnout is a workplace-related syndrome. By definition, you will see it. Now, I don't like that notion because we think of a place of work, but everybody works. Whether we are working in a field and picking rice, we are being a mother at home, or we are an executive, we all work. So I prefer to think of this as a wherever we work related syndrome, whatever we do. It's just really important because burnout, by definition, is workplace. Good answer. Which of these symptoms is outside of coaching and may indicate clinical mental health? A, fatigue and loss of motivation. B, frustration with a team manager. C, persistent thoughts of hopelessness and suicide. D, low engagement at work. A, B, C, D. Absolutely. C, persistent thoughts of hopelessness and suicide. And I think a lot of you learned that as well with that definition between therapy and coaching. True or false? Burnout can be resolved effectively through better time management alone. True or false? Perfect. Great. False. Question number 4. Which of the following are coach-appropriate strategies? Select all that apply. A, diagnosing chronic stress. B, teaching boundary setting. C, facilitating self-reflection and values alignment. D, recommending medication or therapy. Great. Okay. Here we really do have B and C. D, of course, we could recommend therapy, as we saw in the last one, but we would not recommend medication, of course. And I know many of you answered that, and I'm sure that's what you were thinking. Last but not least, which approach has been scientifically proven to significantly improve resilience and workplace well-being? Gratitude, avoiding difficult conversations, more breaks and fewer deadlines, or weekly performance reviews? Yeah, great. Lots of A's. I think you've noticed something. I think you're noticing that you already have an awful lot of the skills you need to coach to burnout. The skills you already have, you already partner with clients through a co-creative reflective process. You already build trust, safety, and empathy through your presence and your active listening. You already recognize lifestyle and behavior patterns that impact stress and resilience. You already know how to facilitate growth through awareness, accountability, and aligned actions. You already apply evidence-informed frameworks for mindset, resilience, and change. And finally, you know how to detect when a coach might need support beyond coaching. You know when to refer. So you have a lot of skills you need. So now you know where you're at. You know where the clients are at, how much they need you. Now, let's look at what we might deepen. We might want to deepen our understanding of burnout, chronic stress, and the dynamics behind performance. We might want to learn those red flags. We're going to do that now. We might want to develop some workplace tools because burnout is a workplace, by definition, issue, so that we can work on work-life balance and things like that. Building confidence. I'm hoping to do that today with you around this topic. Stop making it taboo. You know, Pritam and Ishnit, if we didn't talk about it and recognize it, it's because nobody told us. We didn't have the words. We didn't have the knowledge. Strengthening collaborative pathways, especially with human resources, EAP, when clients need more support. And finally, getting expertise in group and team coaching, because a lot of this awareness can be built around groups. So self-assessment number 2. Now we're going to start getting into a little bit of the definition about stress, depression, burnout, that kind of thing. Earlier on in the chat, I don't remember who it was, but it was mentioned as well. Bore out. This is the Yerkes-Dodson law of stress. To the left, we have stress at a certain level can actually be helpful. But if we're completely bored and beyond boredom, we can become depressed, even on the positive side of stress. Well-being is this nice sweet spot in the middle. That's why I put a sweet in the middle there, because it's the zone of optimal performance. I like to call it the sweet spot. We've got a little bit of stress, not too much. And then we get into the zone of stress, burnout, and depression. So this is another question I would ask you. Where do you lie on this chart? Where are you? And this is a great tool to use with your clients. If they walk in and they say, hey, Aruna, today I'm super burned out, I'm completely stressed, pull this out and say, hey, somebody else said it in the chat. What does that mean to you? Can you put an X? Where are you at here? It can also help them realize it's maybe not as bad as it could be. Or on the other hand, they could also say, hey, I'm at one of these ends, and then you can discuss next steps. There are 5 stages of burnout. And again, you will be walking away with this plus the details. Honeymoon, onset, chronic, burnout, and then habitual burnout. I want to share a few thoughts on this because I find, yes, it does, Shripad. The Yerkes-Dodson law quite matches with the flow models. When you're in the flow is that sweet spot, correct? I want to come to something that Ishnit said very early on today. She's soon to get her ACC. We've got a new position here. That's the honeymoon. We're starting something new. We're super excited. It's where the journey begins. This could be a new job, a new role, high energy, motivated, creative, strong. It feels really good, honeymoon. All honeymoons feel good, right? Feels really good, the honeymoon. But there is a risk at this stage for overextension and overexhaustion. We don't dare say no. We say yes to everything. We work long hours. We ignore any signs of fatigue. That's the honeymoon. Know it, understand it, recognize it. Then we have the onset of stress. This is where the newness starts to run off. The shine is not so shiny anymore. Some days are harder than others. Productivity and optimism, we're a little bit less pink glasses. Stress starts to show up, maybe a little bit physically, maybe a little bit of emotionally. We're tired, irritable, anxious. Maybe we have issues concentrating, maybe headaches a little bit. It's a little bit stressful, but it can also be a little bit motivating, that onset of stress. Let's just recognize it and try to stay somewhere between the honeymoon and the onset of stress. And then there's chronic stress. This is when it's not just from time to time. It's in the background noise of everyday life. We are in a constant state of alert when we're in chronic stress. We're tired most of the time, even after we've had a rest. We get sick more often. Our body starts to be tired of things. Cynicism, irritability, resentment. We kind of feel emotionally flat and we start withdrawing. That's the chronic stress. We're just too stressed to deal with people. It's often the place where people say, oh, well, it's just the way it is. Everybody feels. This is that denial stage, the chronic stress. Of course, it's normal. Everybody feels this. This is really a warning sign if we've got that chronic stress. This is where, when we were seeing earlier on, the people that didn't recognize this is exactly where Pritam was at. And he was thinking, no, it's normal. And then we get the burnout. This is where the system stops coping. Deep physical, mental, and emotional exhaustion, overwhelmed by work and life, difficulty seeing solutions, this attitude of it doesn't matter anyway, pessimistic, cynicism, self-doubt, emptiness, withdrawal. And it's actually the worst thing. We withdraw, and it's exactly when we need the help. Others might notice changes before you do, and you usually don't want to admit it at this point. Recovery becomes much harder at this phase, much harder. It's much more difficult to bounce back. Ignoring when we're in burnout makes recovery much more complex. And then there's the habitual burnout. This is when burnout is left unaddressed for too long. It becomes a way of living, chronic, persistent. We often are unable to work at this point. We quit our job. We often need professional support. It is long. It is not weakness. It's what happens when a system is pushed beyond its limits. The good news is we can prevent it. And it's not about judgment. It's about giving ourselves permission to respond sooner with care. Pritam, we'd love to hear your voice.
I'm having a deja vu. No, I just wanted to mention, because most of us are here Indians, right? So I just wanted to tell my story. So first time someone told me that I think you are having a burnout, and I said, like, look, we are Indians, More work, more stress means we are doing good. That's what my parents told me, and that's what society told me. So I think that's just the story
And
just
not
came
only
back.
Indians, it is very much a cultural thing. Thank you so much for sharing. Aruna.
Yeah, just wanted to check, Ellen, that this particular frame and stages and all you've given, is it supported by any scientific
Yes,
study?
it is. Yes, it
Because
is.
I
And
know
you'll
you are big on research and you give those.
Yes, and I will show you afterward. I will show you the research behind it. Yeah, and you've got it. In fact, at the bottom of each slide, you have the full blowout of all of the information and where it comes from. Yeah, this is all scientifically
Thank you.
recognizable. So thank you. Thank you for that. Here we go. This is our definition. The WHO definition of burnout. It is an occupational phenomenon conceptualized as resulting from chronic workplace stress that has not been successfully managed. And may we please, again, make that caveat. It is an Ellen caveat. It is not a WHO caveat. Workplace, wherever you work, whether you're a student, whether you're in the, like I said, I just think that's really important. There's not something about a corporation. It's just about working. And work could be being a mother, okay, or a father, or a caretaker, Okay, so that's the definition. Then we're going to move on. Burnout is always this state always represented by these three things. This is a great slide to have on hand for your clients. If we don't have these three, we're in the honeymoon or the onset of stress phase or the chronic stress phase. We are not burnout. Burnout, we have these three things: exhaustion, cynicism, and inefficacy. Again, peer-reviewed, that is the science. Chronically, physically, and emotionally drained. Detachment. Everything bothers you. It rubs you the wrong way. You start to pull away. The result is less empathy and caring for others and for yourself. It all becomes, why bother? Who cares? It doesn't matter anyway. It's very hard as well to feel a sense of accomplishment. You feel guilty because you feel awful and you don't want to feel, and you won't admit it. And so we don't accept it. So we punish ourselves and it all becomes worse. And again, then we don't sleep. And we don't sleep, we're more stressed. When we're more stressed, we don't sleep. And there's this vicious circle that sets in. So once we see these three things, we know that it is probably the signs of burnout. What other signs and symptoms of burnout do you know? And of course, I'll give them to you too, but I want to see what you know. Signs and symptoms of burnout. What can you dump into the chat? Signs and symptoms of burnout. Sleep, lots of time off. Yes, shutting off. Fatigue, low energy. Thank you, me too. Drained, decreased motivation, disengagement. Good one, Clifford. Irritation, purposelessness, negative thinking, anger, hopelessness, lack of concentration. Great. Let's see what else. Feeling like a victim, heightened irritability, fluctuations in mood, low mood, sad mood, anger, irritability, cynical negative outlook, withdrawal. Nobody really wrote that, but withdrawal, if a client starts canceling all their coaching sessions, maybe they're lonely, maybe they're withdrawing. Reduce effectiveness, efficiency. You don't meet your deadlines anymore. You don't work like you used to. Missing work, fatigue. The last bit, noticeable imbalance or overload in professional and personal life. Difficulty disconnecting, setting boundaries, and prioritizing yourself. Non-interested in activities, says Ines. Mental fog, says Ritu. And that detachment from everything, says Bhuvana. All right, this is a really important slide. Now, I've given you for each of these round circles a full slide to go home with all of the details. For the purpose of the presentation, what is the difference between depression and burnout? Depression is a mental health disorder characterized by persistent feelings of sadness, hopelessness, and a lack of interest or pleasure in activities. Please note, my fellow coaches, many of these words we put as symptoms of burnout, right? So we could be missing it. Burnout is the state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion caused by excessive, prolonged stress related to work. In the middle, fatigue, concentration, sleep, appetite, they're common symptoms. Burnout can lead to depression if not addressed in time. And that's exactly what Pritam shared with us. Exactly what he shared with us. Again, I will give you the full slide in your goodie bag, but for now, understand there are overlapping symptoms. We promised you a framework as a coach. We like frameworks, don't we? We like to have approaches. This is the framework that my colleague, Ellen Kocher, and myself have created. It is a coaching-informed framework. 3 phases: detect, prevent, sustain. Recognize the early signs, equip clients with strategies, and then empower the clients to maintain and adapt those practices. So the next self-assessment, let's see where you are on this model. Let's see how well you could do this right now. This would be for yourself. You don't need to put this in the chat. Step 1, detection. Can you spot early red flags that might signal burnout? Number 2, do you know when to refer? Number 3, can you support clients exploring their patterns of chronic stress or imbalance? Prevention. Do you partner with clients to explore and apply evidence-informed strategies for managing stress? Can you facilitate mindset shifts that enhance resilience and reduce vulnerability to burnout, low mood? Can you partner with them to prioritize and cultivate healthy work-life balance or integration? And step 3, can you support them identifying and refining practices, helping them stay grounded and balanced? Are you skilled in helping them monitor their energy, motivation, and moods? Can you help them recognize when their mental well-being strategies need adjusting? This is for you. You can go and do it more deeply when we go home today. However, this allows you to see where and how you can support your clients. So this is your rating scale, whether you're super equipped, somewhat equipped, or not equipped, so you can decide what to do next. Again, I'll let you do your rating when you go home. What we want to do now, and this is going to be until the end of our session today, is to really look at the strategies. What are the strategies and where are they from? And I invite you all to do it for yourself, and you can reuse these for your clients. So again, I've looked at science and I've pulled out the 6 strategies for mental well-being. And I'm going to ask you to put in the chat what you think is there. Now, before you do it, look in the green flag there. Sleep is not actually a strategy. It's the result of practicing all of the other strategies. So just so you know that, sleep is not an answer. What do you think the strategies are going to be for mental well-being? Gratitude. Aruna, thank you. Gratitude journaling. Gratitude. Okay. What else do we have? What do you think are in the 6 strategies? Long walks, drawing boundaries. What else? Talking to someone, staying positive, setting boundaries, reflection time, meditation, doing what makes us come alive, music or nature, me too. Seeking help, asking questions to self and others, avoid micromanaging, trust. Ooh, Shripad, that's beautiful. Trust. Finding what gives you joy and integrating it into daily life. Awareness, what is in our control, says Geeta. I'm going to share something in the chat, and I want to know if anybody knows what this is an acronym for. I just shared something in the chat. Thank you, Ines. Chosen Family Circle, awareness and prioritizing. I put something in the chat. I think you can all see it. Does anybody know what that's a sign for? Show up. Believing that work is not you. Oh, that's a really good one, Pritam. You've got some great strategies here, my friends. I want to come back to my strategy, STOP. Honestly, if you walk away with one thing today, and it's that, and it was unplanned, but if you walk away with this, I think that we have definitely hit our target. STOP, stop, take a deep breath, observe, and proceed. That stop could be performed 100 times a day. That stop could be performed once a week so that you actually stop and take a breath and stop working and focus in. That stop could be practiced at a stoplight. That stop could be practiced before you yell at your spouse, child, boss, colleague, because it allows you to proceed, respond, rather than react. When we are stressed, we react. So clearly that was unplanned, but I'm very happy to have shared it. Deep breathing is number 1. Number 2 is physical activity. Number 3 is positive interactions. Number 4 is laughter. Number 5 is affection. And number 6 is creative expression. So we got all of them somewhere in your answers. And if you look at it now, you're going to score yourself, and your clients can do the same. 0, never do it. 1, occasionally. 2, often. So breathing. 1 5-minute session of deep breathing calms the nervous system, goes right up to the vagal nerve, brings your cortisol down, lowers anxiety, especially among older adults. But it is valid for every single age. Score yourself. 012. Yes, exactly, Ritu. It actually moves us into the parasympathetic nervous system. This is a fantastic prevention tool. Number 2, physical activity, even small walks, a little bit of movement. It increases our cerebral blood flow and it oxygenates our body, our brain, giving us focus and resilience under stress. Where are you? 012. Positive interactions, supportive conversations, connection. This releases serotonin and oxytocin, countering cortisol, which is our stress hormone, enhancing emotional resilience. 012, what's your score? 4, laughter, real laughter. It reduces cortisol by more than 30%. So find something funny to laugh about, even one little session, while it boosts your endorphins and your immune function. Physical affection, hugs, touch, presence. It counteracts stress by enhancing, once again, the parasympathetic activity, reducing blood pressure and releasing feel-good oxytocin. Journaling. It's what you said, Aruna. Drawing, music, early sensory processing, it oxygenates the brain. Where are you at? 012. So, what's your score? We've been through the 6. Aruna, did you have a question?
Yes, Ellen. This has been a question which I've been putting to many people. See, basically, we define burnout as a workplace related, right? Whether it's
Right.
workplace or maybe in the life, whatever experiences.
Work related. Let's just say work related. We all work.
Yeah. So my question is that we are actually trying to tackle it from the client side, but then the client is part of the bigger system, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Thank you. You are the best segue I know. I didn't even pay you to do that. What we are looking at now is you're absolutely right. And there are 2 things I'm dying to share. One is you're right. You can't attack the individuals if their entire environment is burning them out. By definition, of course, we can do that as a second bit, but it is systemic. So what we're looking at now is an example workplace burnout session. In a workplace burnout session, we are going to want to share this. What is burnout? What is the context we're in? Why does it matter? What are the causes of burnout, which we didn't explore today? We explore that in the full. This is actually what I teach in the full 2-hour burnout training for workplaces. Signs and symptoms. We go deeper than we did today. What is resilience? And I'm curious, just in the group here, can anybody just open their mic and tell me what resilience is? We all kind of have the same idea in our brain. Thank you, Ines. You said it, bouncing back. Well, I beg to differ. I'm kind of, I would say, a bit argumentative. The workplace, I don't like that. It's where we work. And I say that resilience, it's not about bouncing back. It's about preventing it in the first place and getting through it. So I don't want to have to burn out and bounce back. I want to be resilient before I get there. I don't want to have the same thing, and Pritam doesn't want his clients either. We want to prevent it, and bouncing forward is a good one. Adaptability. It's really getting through. In fact, I give a course that I invented the word, I call it transilience. Rather than resilience, transilience, it's getting through the transition. It's really being resilient through the transition. It just works more for me. So we talk about resilience and that life balance. A lot of life balance exercises. Where are we putting our priorities? Why are we doing that? You might have tools to do this. So this is a way to lay out this session, like Aruna said. We've got to deliver it where it's got the greatest impact, and then we can get narrower with the individuals afterward. The number 7 is the second thing I wanted to share with you all. We as coaches are trained to create a safe space. We will have no arguments there. Again, I always get goosebumps when I work with coaches because we have this thing we understand about each other, the safe space. Workplaces don't have that. One of the things I teach in workplaces, and you are all just as equipped as me to teach, is a coach approach to creating a safe place and a safe space. And what I share in the coach approach exercise, I train teams and leaders in active listening, open-ended questions, and non-judgment. Because when everybody, every colleague, every team, every leader does that, we're not afraid to say, Pritam, that I'm not well. I'm not happy. I'm too stressed. I need something. And that is something amazing. It's a gift you have that you can share with others. We're not teaching them to be coaches. We are teaching them to use a coach approach, to create a safe space where people open up. Because that is where prevention lies, my friend. That is where prevention lies. So that's why I gave you the business case. So what's next? What's next? We're going to come back to this one. We're going to take a few minutes to talk about what you plan to do next. But I want to show you your goodie bag because that's what you're going home with. And I'm going to add the bits that I said I would add, the book about therapeutic presence and therapy and coaching ethically together. Those are the two things. See, I always say, Arun, I always add to the deck. That's why I don't give it to you beforehand, because it grows thanks to the input from our people. Your goodie bag. You get lots of sweets today. So first of all, I wrote an article about this. Feel free to share this article. It is an article that I wrote for the ICF, the Mental Well-Being, a Coach's Must-Have Toolbox. It repeats a lot of what we've had today. Share it with your fellow coaches, share it with business leaders, anybody you find useful. I have a full 2-hour training, which gets deeper, and now you can absolutely imagine what's in that course. It is a 2-level. It is 2 hours of training, and then if you like to, you can actually walk away with all of the slide decks, all of the pitch decks. I forgot who it was who said that they liked my decks. Yes, aesthetically, I think it's very important to have slides that are impactful and that mean something to people. I usually call that session From Burnout to Balance, Spot It, Stop It, Solve It. It is credited by the ICF for 2 ongoing credits and by the National Board of Health and Wellness Coaches. But I'm not the only training out there. There are many burnout training options, and I've done the vetting for you. I've looked up a number of courses if you're interested in going further with your learning. Today may be enough. This may have just sparked a match. That was a play on words. I also recently discovered something absolutely fabulous from the American Institute of Stress. It is a self-assessment tool that I have found just amazing. One of my colleagues, somebody's microphone is open.
Yeah,
One of my colleagues, thank you. One of my colleagues at the American Institute of Stress shared this with me. Just click through these links. It's a super interesting and share it with your clients. Again, these are all tools you can use. And then here is the full description, depression versus burnout. So you have that information and all of the scientific references of everything that you've seen today. So we're at the end. I'm going to stop sharing because what I'm interested in the next few minutes is knowing, do you have questions? And what are you going to do next? What's your first step?
Ellen, I need your permission to just announce about the Google feedback form.
Please do.
So
Thank you, Shripad.
I've posted about the Google feedback form link in the chat box. Do please open the link or copy the link and keep it with you. We have 2 days to fill the feedback. And those of you who are not on camera, if you can come on camera, we can have a group pic with Ellen and we can, celebrate and cherish the memory later on as well in our post. So Meetu, are you taking?
Yes, as usual, I've been taking throughout also, and I'll take again.
Ellen, to introduce Meetu. Meetu is our marketing and communications director. She's
Thank
the
you,
link behind
Meetu.
those 2
I know.
marketing posters which I sent you, right?
They were great. Thank you.
Yes, beautiful ones. She's a creative person.
So many people are there in the camera now. We can say cheese, and I'll click a picture. Okay, I'm going to the next slide. Yes, say cheese. Bring your best smiles. Yes. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Meetu. So I would love to hear from you, my friends. What are you going home with? What more do you need? What can I help you with? Can I answer any further questions? It's nice to see your faces.
I'll say thank you so much, Ellen, for this. It was good. Even though I've been through burnout, I actually didn't know what is the official definition of it. And to see that and the graph of that sweet spot, I think that was really good. So yeah, thank you for sharing. You, as like you said, it's a starting point for sure.
Yeah, it's just the tools that we need that can get us. Also, I hope I've built your confidence that you realize how many skills you already have that you can just use in a different way.
Yeah.
Mm.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sriram. I'm glad that the tools that are shared will help you improve his knowledge. Great.
Yes, Ellen,
Wonderful.
I'd also like to say that I like that mental health toolbox a lot. So a little while ago, I had done that suicide prevention. So there I came to know about the hope box. So since then, I've been crafting my own like calm box, something which
What a
makes
good
me.
idea. What a good idea.
Yes, I love that again, like a mental health toolbox. Thank you.
Yeah, and with these ideas, you can take a few of these ideas and put them together and offer them to your clients as I don't want to say a lead magnet, but actually to bring them in the door, to raise their awareness, give it away, give it to them, offer it to them. They don't have the information. They just don't have it. You're welcome, Raul. Thank you. Thank you.
Ellen, may I ask you a question regarding your
Please.
practice part of it? Right, like you take it to the corporates, right? And in the organizations, you actually do this. So, as coaches who are getting into this, so
Mm.
how do you take care of the resistance? I mean, or usually some amount of resistance and all will be there, right? Does coaching help with burnout, or it is like that? As Preetham said again, it's contextual, I mean, based on the culture.
Right. I think it's a
So,
great question. What I'd like to do is I'd like to share something super practical. Let's just say you really want to go to a workplace. I think right now you're perhaps not, you don't maybe have quite the kit. I would say the 2-hour training would give you the kit and the slide deck to go to the workplace. You have to decide with the business manager where the budget is coming from. The budget could come from health and well-being. It could come from L&D. It could come from DEI. Ha, bet you never thought of that. Inclusion and belonging. There's nothing that stresses people more. So you can already start thinking, which budget might we be tapping into to do this work? The way you can then roll it out is you decide if you're doing it by teams, all together, if you have hierarchy mixed or separate. I find it useful to run the session for different levels of hierarchy among them, but they all know the others are getting the same training. So they show up, they have the safe space. We create the same space. As a follow-up, I offer 3 workshops, one on active listening, one on open-ended questions, and one on non-judgmental approach. You're all trained for that. We run those workshops at every level of the organization. So we start creating this vibe. So it goes beyond coaching. You're not selling coaching. You are selling resilience, well-being, prevention. Don't necessarily just go in as the coach. And then after that, if people need one-on-one coaching, then you can trickle that down to one-on-one coaching. So it's a real business model that's extremely coherent, and it is not what we would say, Annie, a random act of wellness. It is a truly coherent program that makes sense and people will adhere to because it's not just a one-off. I hope you found that helpful. You will see anybody that wants to register. All of the entire slide deck has, it's all click-throughs. So you can link to any of that and link into me and ask any other questions. Pritam, love your question.
No, I mean, this is great. I mean, thank you so much. You've done a lot of work on behalf of us. So, we could do a shortcut. Thank you. So the bigger question or, the observation I have is like, since it is derived as a work problem, and my experience says that like companies are very happy to put it on the employee's lap and say, hey, I find you a coach, I find you this, I'm giving you a budget, manage yourself, while I keep the shit myself. So the companies are not investing enough to clean their mess, and they are saying, "Oh, you do it," And I think that is a systemic problem, and that never gets solved because if companies start taking, I mean, yes, a gym membership is good, but if you have a toxic workplace, the gym membership doesn't help. Things like that. That is more, that's what I see in my all the places that I worked, or I see the clients that are referring. So my question is that how can influence the companies more to accept that they have a problem and they need to fix things. It's not only
Yeah.
the employee's duty.
Yeah, I agree, Pritam. I'm an economist, so for me, the business case is really important, which is why I gave you those first slides. We need to show them that the ROI is non-negotiable. And again, that's why I'm giving you that business case. That is the most important thing. You are, again, Aruna, not pitching coaching, and coaching is great. You are pitching your bottom line. You need to go in with an economic argument. Otherwise, you won't get in the door. And this little once in a while coaching, it's not useful. We need to do something that is impactful, that is big, which is why I believe the main training that we need to have the most impact is to walk into the workplace. Awareness, awareness, awareness. The last thing I will say, Pritam, and again, many of you know this, it is a principle of workplace well-being. It's top down and then bottom up. Top down, know the way, go the way, show the way. Bottom up, do what makes sense. Because working, like giving a menopause session to a company that's 98% men makes no sense. Okay, so we need to make sense. That's the bottom up bit. But top down, so that means that we need to approach it from the top. We need to give them the business case. We need to give them the arguments at a financial level. So I hope I have provided some of that for you, and I'm always available to support you in any phase of your next step. So I have to say, namaste. Thank you so much for your time, your interaction, your sharing. I am going to up the slide deck right now with what I promised you. And Aruna, will you be forwarding the deck to everybody that registered for the session?
Yes, Ellen. I'll be doing it for whoever has attended it today. And I'll have the information with me in the Zoom, so I'll do that. And also I'll have the information captured in the Google feedback. So either way, I can reach out. So
Perfect. And I would
before
love the information from the Google feedback as well, because I'm always working to improve everything I do.
Sure. And as you can see in the chat, there's a lot of gratitude pouring in and a lot of appreciation for the session, Ellen. Even from our side, from the chapter side, it's been a wonderful session and it's a great start to the new year, this January session. And what I'm taking away from this basically is like, that last assessment which you said, do I have that capability to identify and how can I get into that, bring that conversation with my clients without making it my agenda,
Right.
right? Because
Good point. Good point. I love that last bit. Without making it my agenda. How can we bring it into the conversation without our attachment? And that is a skill that takes mastery, and always here to support anybody on this. So thank you so much.
thank you, Ellen. So I'm sure you've seen the comments. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
It's
You're
been
welcome.
a awesome session, no words. You want to add, anyone wants to add anything, please feel free. And
Thank
we're
you, Ellen.
almost,
And
You're welcome.
we really enjoyed the session and a lot of takeaways. Nandri. Like you said, Vanakkam, this is at the end. Nandri for
Thank you
being
so
so.
much. Thank you so much.
and thank you, Annie. Thank you, Annie, for identifying this resource person and letting us know.